next week we're looking at how to take roofs and add those extra details that make them look real. Real buildings, we see that they have a number of roof details, and we'll look at guttering and drain pipes next week. But this week we're going to look at those trims that go round the edge and complete the roof, protect it from water coming in, and make sure basically that the roof is watertight and faced. So this is a tiled roof, and round the edge you'd expect to see a little bit just to face off, a fascia against the wood that all the tiles are sat on, and those rafters need to have something stopping the water getting in the ends, and that's what this will do. It's not a huge piece of wood, and in HO we want it to be quite subtle. This one here will have something to hold the tar paper in and just to edge round, so we'll put that on and see what a difference it makes. So I'm just going to decide what size wood I want, and this is my wood collection. I've got it all in little containers, and I could use 1x, but in HO scale, 1x2 or 1x4, whatever, they're very, very small to deal with. So what I'm probably going to do is use 2x4s, because they're the simplest to handle as much as anything else, and they will show up. So I need enough, this is my 2x4s, I need enough to go all the way round. And if you're wondering what kind of wood this is, it's a mix of northeastern or Kappler or something like that. I just bought it over the years and I put it into the right size for HO stock, because HO is what I model the most. We're going to need a couple of pieces. So I'm just going to get 2 pieces of 2x4 out and try and make sure they look similar. So we're going to do a kind of peeling paint effect, and to do that we need to make sure that the wood underneath is a nice colour. So I'm going to stain these with a little bit of isopropyl alcohol and India ink, and I'm going to use quite a dark solution. This is sort of 2 or 3 teaspoons of India ink in isopropyl alcohol. Now these are going to go to white, surprisingly enough, and all I'm going to do is just paint. I don't need, it's quite a thin coat, I haven't really shaken it, because I don't want it to be overly strong, because we've got a very patchy effect, and I don't want to make this look amazingly brand new shiny paint. So I'm just going to paint these with a bit of white, just like this, making sure I get the sides as well. You'll see some of the dark showing through. I don't need to paint the back because they're not seen on all sides, but I always do just in case. So here's my pieces of wood. For this one, it's really simple. It's just a case of getting it to the right size, cutting it and putting it in place. So that's what I'm going to measure off and do. But there's just a couple of pieces where the corner just needs a little bit of trim from my masking tape. So I'm just going to do that just to trim it. Okay. So I'm just going to cut this to size and put it in place. Now I could mitre the edges, but I'm not going to. I'm just going to literally put it in and let it overlap at the sides. I cut all the sides out in turn, allowing a little bit extra on each end just for sanding back later, which gives a much better finish. So I'm going to glue them on in a certain order, and for that I'm going to use white glue because of the type of stuff that I'm gluing, which is wood and paper effectively. So this is just tacky glue, it's slightly thicker than normal. White glue, it doesn't need a lot. And a fresh cocktail stick. So choose the best side for weathering and all those other sort of things, and just attach a little bit of glue along the edge. I glued the back, then the front strips on, and then the sides shorter strips, and these all had square angles, so they were easy to meet up and match. And then just going to carefully hold these and file these down too. And then I've got these 2 pieces just to pop on. Make sure they line up exactly with the other bits of wood. Going to let that dry off or set for a bit before I file those final sides and touch them up. I'm just going to go back to this one that's been sat here for a while and just file this one flush on these outer edges here. And just a little bit of filing just to get it all to line up. So I'm just going to touch this off quickly with a little bit of white paint, probably not that much. But what it basically means is I just want a little dab on just to hide any, and I'm just going to rub it in with my finger a bit. It's just to hide any new wood colour from the filing. So on this one, very different technique in some ways, because you're putting it under the eaves as like a matching. And there's many different ways of doing this. The hardest thing is to actually get the first angle, because you need all of these angles to match and go down vertically. So I'm going to hold this in place and just mark so it's flush against the edge, and just mark a vertical angle like that. So I've got the angle. And then once I've got that angle, there we go, I can cut it. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to cut that same angle onto this edge of this one and see if they match up when I put them back in. And because these are double-sided, if I now put them together, one going this way and one going this way, see why I say you need 3 hands, then you can see that they do indeed line up and meet in the middle. Always a relief. You can always sand them or just recut again if they don't. So now what I need to do is measure the lengths and get the verticals. So that goes to the middle, and then this goes vertically down in line with where I'm going to put the other bit of wood. Probably going to be about there. I mean, technically these should be parallel, because vertical is vertical in both instances. So when you cut the next one, you should just be able to line it up and do that. So now we need to put on the lengths under the eaves here. So we need to decide just how far in we're going to put these. And I probably want them just a little bit. I'm going to measure on the outside because it's easier. And I'm just going to make my mark. Cut 2 identical lengths. Okay. There we go. So these I'm going to attach with a little bit of white glue. It gets a bit fiddly, and if they fall off, just don't worry about it. Try and use really small amounts of glue because the shine will show. If you do get any shine, an X-Acto knife will take it off, so it's not a problem. Now this bit is incredibly fiddly. You have to glue along thin, small edges and attach them to the scale house. And don't worry if they fall off a bit, don't worry if it takes you a bit of a time, but make sure they are square and they look even across all sides, and the ends of the bits of wood all meet up very neatly, which will save you having to trim them or try and do anything later on, because they will only be delicately glued. So here we are, the final result on our roofs. You can see the extra details that we've added make a huge difference.
Has Mills girl Kathy finally found her lift home? Well, I was having a horrible time on that planet last week. I was being chased. It was really horrendous. You might see them later. I didn't want to talk about it, but I haven't worked out how to bring back yet. So okay, getting here, just didn't know how to get back. Thankfully, hitched a ride on this spaceship. Isn't it awesome? I mean, like, oh, thank you. Oh, it was brilliant, really good. Really pleased. I mean, oh, now, just need to see how long it takes me to get home. They've said they'll beam me, but I'm not a priority. So it doesn't help that I'm about this big for them. And they're just thinking, what's this little creature thing? I mean, they didn't even notice me at first. I stowed away for about a week before they even noticed that I was around screaming at full volume. I must be half deaf. Oh. Anyway, here I am, hopefully getting home soon. I wonder if the others are missing me. I hope they are. Well, I've looked everywhere. I mean, I really have looked everywhere. I've been to the pond, to the garden, to the park. Oh, that was, no, I'm not even going to go there. But that dog he's a lovely dog. Very, very helpful. He sniffed everywhere, couldn't find a trace of her. And so where else have I been? I went up to the centre of Knoll. No, she wasn't there. Couldn't see her in Costa. She hasn't skipped away with Kathy, big Kathy, because she's at home at the moment, so she wasn't off with her anywhere. And I just don't know where she is, and I'm getting worried. Where is she? Where is she? Yeah. She's just gone. It's like she vanished into thin air. I mean, people don't just vanish. I know she got ideas watching Star Trek, but people don't do that well in real life. Not really. So this isn't real life. Oh, I do hope she's okay. I hope she's okay. I really do.
Well, it looks like Mills girl Kathy's being missed, but she's finally landed on her feet. I hope you're enjoying it. If you are, then subscribe to me on YouTube. Alternatively, like me on Facebook, Kathy Millett Modelling, or on my website, kathymillett.co.uk.